that close to taking us away.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to RC Squared, a podcast for the people. My name is Regina Connell. Thank you for joining me this morning. So, you guys, we have a good show for you today. It's going to be pretty lengthy because I like to go through the whole of a content. And I thought, well, why not go live while I'm watching it? Maybe some people can offer some support and maybe some information as to what we hear today. So, today we are going to be watching Kamala's speech last night and her definitive economic plan that she has. And then there was also a follow-up interview with MSNBC. So we're going to be viewing that as well. I do like to remain unbiased. So you guys, thank you for joining me. Welcome to RC Squared, a podcast for the people. My name is Regina Connell. Let's get this show started.
And
All right, you guys, I have chosen to start out with a clip. Instead of starting out with Kamala, we are going to start out with the good First Lady, Melania Trump. She speaks out. She wrote in her memoirs, Melania, she's finally speaking out everything that she's held close to her heart, the things that have happened through the assassination attempts with Donald Trump. And as soon as I play this little short clip, we will jump right into Kamala's speech. I am pulling this from various YouTube channels, most of it Fox News, and I believe the footage from Kamala Harris's MSNBC YouTube channel. So I am doing a share screen, and this is powered by the Yard StreamYard. You guys, thank you so much for joining me today, and let's get this puppy rolling.
So the assassination attempts, the first one is in Butler, Pennsylvania. And you write about watching the assassination attempt on TV, and you started working and you were distracted, so you pushed pause. So you didn't see that first assassination attempt, and someone called you, I think your chief of staff maybe called you and said, he's okay, but there's been a shooting. What happened next?
I ran to the TV and I rewound it and I watched it. I was only a few minutes behind, and something, I guess, look over me. So I didn't really see live, but maybe, 3 minutes, few minutes later. But when I saw it, it was only, nobody really knew yet.
Right.
Because when you see him on the floor and you don't know what really happened.
And then a few weeks later, there's another attempt on your husband's life at your golf course.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you, and what was your reaction to this attempt?
I was in New York City, actually, and I saw it on the television. And as soon as I saw it on television.
Okay, you guys, we're going to cover that more later, you guys, as my word is bond. I told you we would cover Kamala's speech. The footage is about 45 minutes long. It jumps right into her introduction. And I did notice, I will say, I did watch just a little, maybe 30 seconds of it to her introductions. And I was glad to hear that she's actually, giving personal thanks to people and actually saying more thank yous. And, but like I said, I didn't watch even a minute of the intro of it. So let's jump on over to that right now, and I'm going to bring up her speech. I'm going to largen the screen for you. Oh, let me pause that. Make sure you guys can see everything. There we go. And let's get this started. Wait, what is this? Hold on, guys.
15.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Here we go. There we go. Sorry about that. Yep, there's her thank yous and all that good stuff. All right, let's do this. Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Well, it's good to be back in Pittsburgh.
She's in
Thank you all.
Pittsburgh.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Andrea, thank you so very much for that beautiful introduction and for your leadership. It really is my honor to be with you today.
That's very kind of her to say.
Thank you to Risa and the Economic Club of Pittsburgh for hosting us today. And I also want to thank Mayor Gainey for being here.
Mayor Gainey. Thank you, Mayor Gainey.
Mayor, you greet me each time I come to Pittsburgh. I thank you so very much for that and your leadership. Thank you.
I don't know who Mayor Gainey is.
Hello,
Does anyone know who
friends.
Mayor Gainey is?
Let's get started.
Let's get started.
Okay.
Let's get started.
So we gather at a moment of great consequence. In this election, I believe we have an extraordinary opportunity to make our middle class
Here we
the
go.
engine of America's prosperity. To build a stronger economy where everyone, everywhere, has a chance to pursue their dreams and aspirations.
Oh, and let me just say, if I could, I just need to interject right here, right now. So I believe that the good Kamala Harris confuses the word equity and equality. They have two very different meanings, even though they phonetically sound a lot alike. They have very different meanings. Equality means equal across the board. Equity means you sow into something and you hopefully get a return out of it. What is your expected return? So I think she's saying she wants equality for everyone. And this, I don't understand her plan. So this is an idea so far from what I'm hearing. Let me know what you guys are hearing. Let's go.
To ensure that the United States of America continues to out-innovate and out-compete the world. Over the past 3.5 years, we have taken major steps forward to recover from the public health and economic crisis we inherited. Inflation has dropped faster here than the rest of the developed
Have y'all
world.
noticed a drop in inflation?
Unemployment is near record low levels.
Up levels.
We have created almost 740,000 manufacturing jobs, including 650 at the battery manufacturing plant over in Turtle Creek.
So the battery manufacturing plant in Turtle Creek, I have no idea where that is. Do you guys know? And I will remind everyone that I believe it was around the figure of 600,000 jobs that were actually jobs that were lost due to COVID. So they could not claim that as new employment. They could only claim it. It was a bounce back. It was a rebound. So it couldn't really be claimed as a newly created position and job, and so many businesses shut down. So I still haven't really heard a clear plan yet. I just heard her once and a few thank yous. Okay.
And we have supported another 15,000 jobs at Montgomery Locks. So
Montgomery Locks. Let me check that out.
these are local, great examples of the work that we have achieved thus far. And last week, for the first time, of course, in 4.5 years, the Federal Reserve cut interest rates, which will make it just a little easier for families to buy a home or a car or just pay down their credit card bill. But let's be clear.
Okay, so far I've heard we're gonna cut this, we're gonna do this. She's about to be clear about something, but she hasn't given any definitive numbers except for what Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary deems as helicopter money, helicopter cash, chopper cash. But let's see what she has to say. You guys, I'm sorry I'm interrupting so much. This you can find the whole of this on MSNBC. I'm on the YouTube channel. We're powered by the Yard, StreamYard. Let's continue on. We have a lot to get
For all
through.
these positive steps, the cost of living in America is still just too high. You know it, and I know it.
Thank you for that
And
confirmation.
that was true long before the pandemic hit. Many Americans who aspire to own a home are unable to save enough for a down payment on a house.
You guys, and let me
And
remind
starting to think
everyone that when Trump left office, the interest rates for homes were at a record 2%.
Maybe home ownership is just outside of their reach. Folks who live in factory towns and in rural communities, who have lost jobs, are wondering if those jobs will ever come back.
Stop sending them
Many
overseas.
Americans are worried about how they'll afford the prescription medication they depend on. All of this is
You know, and it's been my thought and my prayer, and I heard other content creators say, what if we lived in a world, RFK Jr. and Nicole Shanahan have said this, what if we lived in a world where those prescription medications were not necessary? Let's keep going.
happening at a time when many of the biggest corporations continue to make record profits while wages have not kept up pace. I understand the pressures of making ends meet. I grew up in a middle-class family.
Here we go.
And while we were more fortunate than many, I
Oh, she
still
admitted it
remember
finally.
my
Thank you
mother
for doing
sitting
that.
at
And thank you, Candace
yellow
Owens.
Formica table, late at night, cup of tea in hand, with a pile of bills in front of her, just trying to make sure that she paid them off by the end of the month. Like so many Americans, just trying to make it all work.
We're just trying to make it all work.
Millions of Americans are sitting around their own kitchen tables and facing their own financial pressures. Because over the past
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how many times in how many different ways she's told us how we're suffering and how she knows how we're suffering, and she even knows about our conversations around the kitchen table. We've heard this in past speeches, past interviews. So I'm still not hearing anything new. Is anybody or any of you hearing anything new? I don't know. Let's keep going.
several decades, our economy has grown better and better for those at the very top
Top.
and increasingly difficult for those trying to attain, build, and hold on to a middle-class life. In many ways, this is what this election is all about.
Mm,
The American people face a choice
yes, we
between
do.
two fundamentally very different paths for our economy. I intend to chart a new way forward and grow America's middle class. Donald Trump intends to take America backward to the failed policies of the past. He has no intention to grow our middle class. He's only interested in making life better for himself and
Okay.
people like himself.
Really?
The wealthiest of Americans. You can see it spelled out in his economic agenda.
Agenda 47 will be
agenda
covering that.
That gives trillions of dollars in tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations, while raising taxes on the middle class by almost $4,000 a year, slashing overtime pay, throwing tens of millions of Americans off of healthcare.
Okay, you guys, I'm not sure where she got the slashing overtime pay. I will look into that. I don't know why she just, I don't even understand. And is she wearing those magic earrings? Has anyone seen? Let's continue on and hear her new way forward and turning the page plan. I'm riveted.
And cutting Social Security and Medicare.
I don't think
In
I recall
sum,
hearing
his
anything like
agenda
that.
would weaken the economy and hurt working people and the middle class. You see, for Donald Trump, Our economy works best if it works for those who own the big skyscrapers.
Let me ask y'all a question as far as owning stuff and mandatory wages and all of that. Now, you guys, if any of you are employers and you have a small business, now you have to pay a minimum wage. What if your business is even, I mean, you're paying all your profits to make payroll. And I've heard of companies having to fold because they could not maintain their payroll, and and then the government says, oh, well, we're going to help you out. No, we don't want your help. We want to be independent of the government. We should never be completely dependent upon any government entity.
Not those who actually build them, not those who wire them,
He built it all.
not those who mop the floors.
Okay. And I'll direct you to a lot of content where he interacted on a monthly basis and still does with
Well, I
his
have a very
employees at the
different
hotels.
vision. I
She
have a
could-
very different vision for our economy. I believe we need to grow our middle class
She
and
already
make
said
sure
that.
our economy works for everyone.
Didn't she already say
For
that?
people,
Did she not already say that?
like the people in the neighborhood where I grew up and the hardworking Americans I meet every day across our nation. So I call my vision the opportunity economy. And it's about making sure everyone can find a job and more and more. Because frankly, having a job, I believe, in our ambition and aspiration should be baseline. And we should aspire and have the ambition and plan to do more.
How do you know we don't? Look, excuse me, pardon me, ma'am. Pardon me, ma'am. Did she say we should have the ambition? I'm going to rewind it back. I'm going to roll back the tape, roll back the camera just a hair bit. This is what I don't understand. How is someone else going to tell you what kind of ambitions you have, what kind of aspirations you should have? And, even that couple that we know was scripted, she was telling them, if you just work harder, if you just do this, and don't forget, we're going to play that clip from Tim Walz's wife, Gwen, and I'll do my little impression of that coming up. So let's rewind this back just a hair bit because I'm not really liking what I'm hearing. I don't know. What are y'all? Listen up.
Can find a job and more and more. Because frankly, having a job, I believe, in our ambition and aspiration should be baseline. And we
Baseline.
should aspire and have the ambition and plan to do more.
What does that even
I
mean?
want Americans and families to be able to not just get by, but be able to get ahead.
So stop taking from us. Close the border. Close the border.
To thrive, be able to.
So is she in essence saying, hey, you guys aren't working hard enough, and I'm going to replace you. How does she know? Who is she talking to? To whom is she talking with? I need to know. Do y'all know? Because she hasn't made much of a presence in the media. And now that campaign is trying to spin it that, oh, well, she's out there meeting with real people. Well, she snubbed the Catholic Church. Why would you do that? Saying that you're campaigning. Well, going to the church is part of your campaign, is it not? I don't know. Let's keep going. See what else you got to say.
To thrive. I don't want you to have to worry about making your monthly rent if your car breaks down. I
She'll
want you to be
think
able
of
to
an
save
insurance
up for your child's education,
scheme.
to take a nice vacation from time to time.
Let us remember that the record high of removing funds from our 401k plans is in her administration right now. And she talks about, Joe Biden just made the comment that she's imbued with the same power that he has. So why hasn't she closed the border? Why hasn't she signed in raising minimum wage to an ungodly wage? Isn't the answer should be based on merit? Let's keep going, man. This is agitating me.
I want you to be able to buy Christmas presents for your loved ones without feeling anxious when you're looking at your bank statement.
Oh, we won't be able to do it this year, baby.
I want you to be able to build some wealth, not just for yourself, but
We d-
also for your children and your grandchildren, intergenerational wealth.
So still I hear her wants. What do you hear?
And here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Oh,
Here's
here's the
beauty of
thing.
it all.
Oh, here's the beauty of it.
We know how to build an economy like that. We do know
We do
how
know.
to unlock.
You guys, we do know how to do this. We do know how to do this. And I will tell you how. From 2016 to 2020, that's how. Let's keep going.
Strong shared economic growth for the American people. History has shown it
Enlightening.
time and again. When we invest in those things that strengthen the middle class, manufacturing, housing, healthcare, education, small businesses, and our communities, we grow our economy and catalyze the entire country to succeed. I have pledged that building a strong middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. And the reason
we're coming with the reason.
Well, let me tell you, the
tell
reason
us.
is not about politics and it's not about ideology. From my perspective, it's just common sense. It's just common sense. It's actually what works. When the middle class is strong, America is strong.
How many
And
times are we going to
we
hear
can
this?
build a stronger middle class. The American economy, we know this here. The American economy is the most powerful force
She's wearing the earrings.
for innovation.
She's wearing the
and
earrings,
wealth
guys. Check it,
creation
check it,
in
check it.
human
Oh,
history.
oh, oh. She's wearing the
We
earrings.
just need to move past the failed policies that we have proven don't work. And like generations before us, let us be inspired
Oh,
by what is possible.
but what could be?
As president, I will be grounded in my fundamental values of fairness, dignity,
Fairness.
and opportunity.
Wait, did she say
And I promise you, I will be pragmatic.
she
in
shouldn't
my
have to
approach.
promise anything?
We need to move past the failed policies that we have proven don't work. And like generations before us, let us be inspired
Be
by
inspired.
what is possible.
Be unburdened.
As president, I will be grounded in my fundamental values of fairness, dignity, and opportunity. And
You guys, I had to rewind that back because I thought she said dictatorship, but she said dignity. She said dignity. So let's continue on. And then we're going to take a look on over to the Tim Walz's wife and hear her give her speech. Let's keep going.
I promise you, I will be pragmatic in my approach.
Is that a new word?
I will engage in what Franklin Roosevelt called bold, persistent experimentation.
Uh-oh, she just told on herself. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? I will continue in bold experimentation. So she's going to take your tax dollars and experiment with them. Do you like that plan? I'm not sure I like that plan. Let's listen again. Let's roll back the tape.
Failed policies that we have proven don't work. And like generations before us, let us be inspired by what is possible. As president, I will be grounded in my fundamental values
Listen,
fairness, dignity,
wait for it.
and opportunity.
She's about to say it.
And I promise you, I will be pragmatic in
Pragmatic.
my approach. I will engage in what Franklin Roosevelt called bold, persistent experimentation.
Okay, so I will say this: pragmatic and experimentation in itself, at its very core, is an oxymoron. So, if we're being pragmatic, most pragmaticists do not do a lot of experimentation, they do more studying. So she's saying that, I believe she's saying she's going to follow suit. She's going to take our tax dollars to perform bold experimentations, right? Have you noticed also that they started wearing the Ukraine flag next to the American flag? Have you ever in history ever seen that one done before? I certainly haven't. Let's listen to a little bit more. We'll switch gears to another level, but she just said it, the words of it, and I've got to play it again. I need this to be ingrained in your heads, you guys. Listen up.
And I promise you, I will be pragmatic in my approach. I will engage in what Franklin Roosevelt called bold, persistent experimentation.
She will be pragmatic in her bold, persistent experimentation. Again, walkie oxy, don't be a walking oxymoron. Let's a few more minutes and then I'm not sure if I can get through it. It's uncomfortable.
Because I believe we shouldn't be constrained by ideology and instead should seek practical solutions to problems.
Wait a minute. So she's doing bold experimentations while being pragmatic to seek practical solutions. Does anyone understand this? Let's one more time.
My approach. I will engage in what Franklin Roosevelt called bold, persistent experimentation.
Oh, she will be bold in her experimentation with our tax dollars. You guys remember that?
Because I believe we shouldn't be constrained by ideology and instead should seek practical solutions to problems, realistic assessments of what is working and what is not, applying metrics to our analysis, applying facts to our analysis, and stay focused then not only on the crises at hand, but on our big goals,
Big
on what's
goals.
best for America over the long term. And part of being pragmatic means taking good ideas from wherever they come.
That is not
Listen.
being pragmatic.
You all know my career. Andrea shared it with you. I am a devout public servant.
Forgive me, you guys. So we're going to look up the definition of pragmatic, and then we're going to listen to her definition of pragmatic. Pragmatic definition. And we'll even do examples, you guys. Hey, why not pick the whole thing apart, you guys? Pragmatic. And we're going to go to the Merriam. Oh, you guys are going to love this. Check it out. Let me get myself smaller. All right, you guys, can you see that? Can you see that? So pragmatic, relating to matters of fact or practical affairs, often to the exclusion of intellectual or artistic matters. Practical as opposed to idealistic, a pragmatic leader. A pragmatic approach to healthcare. Let me read that again for you. Relating to matters of fact or practical affairs, often to the exclusion of intellectual or artistic matters, practical as opposed to idealistic. Now, let's go back to the good Kamala Harris and hear what she had to say one more time, and we'll back it up and her definition of pragmatic.
To our analysis. And stay focused then, not only on the crises at hand, but on our big goals, on what's best for America over the long term. And part of being pragmatic means taking good ideas from wherever they come.
All right, guys, and let's review the definition once again. Pragmatic, and let me largen the screen for you guys. Pragmatic, right? Pragmatic refers to being practical and focused on real world matters. It is based on practical judgments rather than principles. Examples of pragmatic decisions include settling a lawsuit to avoid higher court costs. I mean, the word pragmatic has been busy over its more than 4 centuries of use. Its earliest meanings were busy, meddlesome, and opinionated. What? But those are now considered archaic uses of the word from the Greek pragma. Ooh, dead, deed. So being pragmatic, what she's describing is not being pragmatic, in my opinion. All right, let's get through just a little bit more and then we'll move right along.
Listen, you all know my career. Andrea shared it with you. I am a devout public servant.
A devout public servant.
I also know the limitations of government. I've always been and will always be, and be clear about this, I've always been and will always be a strong supporter of workers and unions. And
She just lost the Teamsters Union, by the way.
I also believe we need to engage those who create most of the jobs in America. Look, I'm a capitalist.
That's what Donald
I
Trump said.
believe in free and fair markets.
Okay. Again, another contradiction after contradiction.
I
Jeez.
believe in consistent and transparent rules of the road to create a stable business environment. And I know the power of American innovation. I've been working with entrepreneurs and business owners my whole career. And
thought you were a
believe
prosecutor.
Companies need to play by the rules. Respect the rights of workers and unions and
Unions.
abide by fair competition. And if they don't, I will hold them accountable. And if anyone has a question about that, just look at my record as Attorney General.
We have.
Look at my record in California, taking on the big banks for predatory lending, taking on big healthcare companies for conspiring to jack up prices, taking on a big for-profit college for scamming veterans and students.
This is really the first I'm hearing of these endeavors that she's so boldly, pragmatically taken on. Have you guys heard of these endeavors? I've not. Let's continue on.
At the same time,
At the same
I
time.
believe that most companies are working hard to do the right thing by
She
their
believes.
customers and the employees who depend on them. And we must work with them to grow our economy. I believe an active partnership between government and the private sector is one of the most effective ways to fully unlock economic opportunity.
What exactly is she saying?
And that is what I will do when I am president. I will target the major barriers to opportunity and remove them. We will identify common sense solutions to help Americans buy a home, start a business, and
Oh,
build
Lord, here we go
wealth.
again. You guys, I
And we
have
will
to fast forward through this. I mean, she said the same
and
thing.
those who aspire to start them. Is that
Okay,
too
blah,
hard?
blah, blah.
Because Donald Trump just does not prioritize small businesses. He does not seem to value, frankly, the essential role they play. But look, when I look at small business owners, I see some of the heroes of our economy. Not only entrepreneurs, but as I said, civic leaders, community leaders, part of the
As long as you're partnered with the government. She said it out of her own mouth. She thinks that businesses should more closely partner with the government. Why? Why? We already pay taxes. We do the work on our own. What are you doing? Let's keep going.
the glue that holds communities together. The third pillar of our opportunity economy is leading the world in the industries of the future.
Oh.
And making sure America, not China,
Not
wins the
China.
competition for the 21st century.
All right, you guys, this is all I can really take of this. Let's move on
At the end of
along.
my first term, if we are to compete, we can't afford to either. As president, do that for the 500,000 of federal jobs that are within our ability to make it so.
Yeah, they're going to increase the IRS. The IRS just endorsed her. I mean, I don't know how that's good.
And the city where Alan Newell and Herbert Simon launched the first AI research hub at Carnegie Mellon.
I thought they were against AI or they just want to sanction it. I'm not sure. Let's say you,
And
Elon Musk.
created entirely new fields like machine learning. And Carnegie Mellon is now home to the largest university robotics center in America.
That's wonderful. All right, you guys, that's all I could take of that. So let's back it on up, back it on up. Okay, you guys, let me pull this screen down. Wow, what did you guys think of that? So we are going to be moving right along. We're going to view the interview and let's look at that first. Then I want to play a little Lefties Losing It with Rita Panahi. Let's go ahead and do it. All right, guys. Yeah, we heard 3 of the pillars, and let me get this up here. Boom, and let's play it. The MSNBC interview last
You
night.
just laid out your economic vision for the future.
Yeah.
But still, there are lots of Americans
She looked
who
like a
don't
little
see
Judge Judy.
themselves in your plans. For those who say these policies aren't for me, what do you say to them?
Listen to what she says.
Well, if you are hardworking, if you have the dreams and the ambitions and the aspirations of what I believe you do, you're in my plan. You know, I have to tell you.
Did you guys hear that? If we have the dreams, the ambition, the aspiration, we are in her plan. Oh, you got to be a dreamer to be in her plan.
I
Okay.
really love and am so energized by what I know to be the spirit and character of the American people. We have ambition. We have aspirations. We
Oh,
have
dear Lord.
dreams. We can see what's possible. We have an incredible work ethic.
I want to show you guys. She's got the magic earrings
But
in.
not everyone has
right
the
here.
access to the opportunities that allow them to achieve
Wait
those
till
things.
her hair moves.
But we
on.
don't lack for those things.
We don't lack.
But
for
not
those things.
everyone, you know, gets handed stuff on a silver platter.
What does that
And
even
so
mean?
My vision for the economy, I call it
Look.
an opportunity economy, is about making sure that all Americans, wherever they start, wherever they are, have the ability to actually achieve those dreams and those ambitions, which include, for middle class families, just being able to know that their hard work allows them to get ahead, right? I think we can't and we shouldn't aspire to have an economy that just allows people to get by. People want to do more than just get by. They want to get ahead. And I come from the middle class. Look.
So allow me to address this. ACN, what's your name? ACN chess, A2N chess. I enjoy chess as well. So that is not a Confederate flag, just so you know. It's actually the flag of China. So know your flag, sir, or ma'am, or whatever you. Pragmatic means rooted in realism. Exactly. It certainly does. I agree with you on that. And what make her a communist? Well, I mean, she says that the playing levels should be fair for everyone. And she's more talking about handing things to people. So we got to listen to the whole of it, which is why I've suffered through it. And you're not voting for Trump. That's fine. I don't hold that against you. And that's another reason why I play the whole of something is so that we can all listen to it. I have found though that the average watch time in this scroll and roll world, usually on TikTok, I know the average watch time is not above 3 to 7 seconds. On YouTube, it usually doesn't last more than a minute. So I don't know how much information one can glean just from 7 seconds to 60 seconds of something. So anyway, let's continue on. And thank you guys for leaving your feedback. I welcome any and all feedback. So thank you, Julie Falkingham and A2N Chess. I appreciate your feedback, and let's continue on.
My mother raised my sister and me. She worked hard. She saved up. By the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy our first home. And the facts. Donald Trump left us with the worst economy since the Great Depression. When you look at, for example, the employment numbers.
It was during COVID, and employment was so high because we shut down the government, we shut down the country.
Even before the pandemic, he lost manufacturing jobs by most people's estimates, at least 200,000. He lost manufacturing plants, ask the auto workers.
And I will say, anyone that believes that the Confederate flag embodies nothing but slavery, well, then you don't know your history. And again, you know, I wave the American flag, so I don't know what this person's talking about. But again, A2N Chess, you did get 1 out of 3. Thank you. And, you know, hey, doesn't mean we have to not get along just because you're not voting for Trump. I thank you for your feedback. But you got the pragmatic definition right. So I thank you for that. And thank you for your input. Let's continue if we can.
How he lost auto plants. We have grown over 20 new auto plants. He has an agenda. Let's just deal with it right now going forward, not to mention what happened in the past.
You have an agenda too.
That would include making it more difficult for workers to earn overtime. An agenda that would include.
Okay, so I wanted to hear her talk about her and her plan. So I'm not going to sit there and listen to her bash Donald Trump, nor would I sit there and listen to Donald Trump bash her. But he doesn't. He just speaks truth as to, you know, to counter what she's saying, and he counters with fact and policy. So, you know, if I have to compare myself to another person, I don't know what that speaks, you know. I don't really know what she's saying. I feel like she's pretending like she's not even in office. So with that said, we're going to run over to some more lighthearted stuff, and we're going to check out Lefties Losing It with Rita Panahi and Sky News and Megyn Kelly. You can find her on Sky News. So let's do this.
It's time for Lefties Losing It, and I regret to inform you that Kamala Harris has sat down for an interview with a leftist activist masquerading as a journalist. We'll have the top 3 moments from that shortly, but first, the Veep seems determined to produce more content for Trump ads. How long before this appears in the next campaign ad for Donald Trump?
We just need to move past the failed policies that we have proven don't work.
Not only is she in office now, but the Democrats have been in power for 12 of the past 16 years. But they want to turn the page.
We are turning the page.
You guys, I got to rewind this because I have a little something for you on this one. So this is Gwen Walls. This is Tim Walls' wife. And this is what she reminds me of, and forgive me, but this is what her voice sounds like to me, and the only way I can replicate it is from The Wizard of Oz. So let's listen up.
We are turning the page. 52 days and we are turning the page.
I'll get you, my pretty.
Bye-bye, Donald.
And your little dog, too.
Can you imagine her as the second lady? Gwen Walls makes her wacky husband, Tim Walls, look normal. And
I'll get you, my pretty. I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dogs, too. Her eyes are about to pop out.
52 days and we are turning the page. 52 days and it is bye-bye, Donald Trump.
Gosh, she's terrifying. Can you imagine her as the second lady? Gwen Walls makes her wacky husband, Tim Walls, look normal. And she has this habit of talking to the lefties at their rallies and campaign events like they're 6 years old.
Oh, watch
Ready?
this.
Let's hear it loud and clear like we said. Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Oh, that was excellent.
Now, President Joe Biden decided to take a break from his endless beach holiday to sit down with the ladies of The View. And here the hate-filled Whoopi Goldberg host talks about her love for Sleepy
This is
Joe
going to be
and
fantastic.
describes Donald Trump as a bug who Biden then crushes.
And they tell on themselves.
I was going wherever you were going, that's what I was doing. So I just wanted to say that because I always felt you were going to probably do 4 years and then try to figure out where to go with Kamala. Then he
Kamala.
just
She just
wouldn't-
said
he was
Kamala.
like a bug.
Uh-oh.
He just
Is she not like Kamala? And let me ask this, you guys. So I want you to pay special attention to Whoopi's reference to Donald J. Trump as a bug to be crushed. And then Joe Biden slams his hand on the desk like he's crushing a bug. Could you imagine if the other party did that, what they would say about it?
being there, who's like a bug right there. So you felt
Wow.
Now, this dude is becoming a
so you felt
Now, this dude is becoming a regular here. This trans activist educates us about pronouns and cisgender privilege.
I haven't
I
seen
don't know
this.
who needs to hear this, but don't ask people for their pronouns if when they share theirs and then they ask you yours, you get offended because you think they should have assumed. That's not allyship. That is you clocking someone and then thinking with your cisgender privilege that they shouldn't have asked you because you're real.
So basically, no matter how stupidly woke you are, it's not woke or stupid enough. Try harder. Now, Kamala finally sat down for a major network interview without a chaperone, and guess who she picked for this momentous occasion? The leftiest of lefty hacks she could find on the lunatic MSNBC network. Here is Stephanie Rule on Bill Maher's show saying Kamala shouldn't be.
Oh, you guys listen to this. This is crazy.
Ask Kamala, say, are you for a Palestinian state if Hamas is going to run that state?
Okay.
Yes or no?
And let's say you don't like her answer. Are you going to vote for Donald Trump?
No, I'm not.
Kamala
I just said I'm not going to vote
is
for
not
her.
running for perfect. She's running against Trump. We have two choices. And so there are some things you might not know her answer to. And in 2024, unlike 2016 for a lot of the American people, we know exactly what Trump will do, who he is, and the kind of threat he is to democracy.
Yes, she has late stage TDS. Let's look at some of the highlights, or should that be lowlights of that interview? Here are Kamala's
man.
top
It was a
3 moments.
disaster.
This is exciting. The VP has learned a new word. Here she repeats that word 3 times in 13 seconds. See if you can guess what it is.
Oh, this is
Looking
good.
holistically at the connection between that and housing, and looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal government can create for local and state governments to
Pragmatically.
actually engage in planning in a holistic manner.
Here, Kamala attempts to answer a simple question about her economic policies. Does not go well. For those who say these policies aren't for me, what do you say to them?
Well, if you are hardworking,
We just
if
covered this.
you have the dreams and the ambitions and the aspirations of what I believe you do,
Oh, thank you.
you're in my plan. You know, I have to tell you, I really love and am so energized by what I know to be the spirit and character of the American people. We have ambition, we have aspirations, we have dreams.
Yes, she loves empty platitudes, and the vacuousness did not end there, and neither did the lies, including this whopper.
Polling shows that most likely voters still think Donald Trump is better to handle the economy. Why do you think that is?
Well, here's what I know in terms of the facts.
Well,
Donald Trump left us with the worst economy since the Great Depression.
hey, I will say when she referenced the word well or the preface well, my mama used to say it's a deep subject for shallow minds. Well, let me rewind it just a hair bit so you can hear it for yourself.
Left us with the, well, here's what I know in terms of the facts.
Well,
Is better to handle the economy. Why do you think that is?
Well, here's what I know in terms of the facts.
What facts is she pulling from? Just wondering.
The economy. Why do you think that is?
Well, here's what I know in terms of the facts. Donald Trump left us with the worst economy since. Estimates at least 200,000.
Now, that is an absolute lie. One so big that even CNN has called it out. Indeed, Trump had added hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs before COVID. He'd not lost them. From the beginning of his presidency in January 2017 through February 2020, just before the pandemic crash, 414,000 new manufacturing jobs were created. Let's bring in Sky News contributor Kosha Gator. Kosha.
All right, guys. So that's that on that. And then I have just one more clip. We're going to listen to the last leg of Melania, the little 3-minute clip. And I'm probably going to do something exclusive on her because I think she deserves a stage of her own. That's why we let out with her. And she will be our 47th First Lady.
I rewind it and I watched it. I was only a few minutes behind. And I ran to the TV and I rewind it and I watched it. I was only a few minutes behind. And something, I guess, look over me. So I didn't really see live, but maybe, 3 minutes, few minutes later. But when I saw it, it was only, nobody really knew yet. Right. Because when you see him on the floor and you don't know what really happened.
And then a few weeks later, there's another attempt on your husband's life at your golf course.
All right, guys, we will cover that and so much more later on, you guys. I mainly wanted to focus on, the speech last night, especially since I hadn't had a chance to view it myself. I thought, well, what better way than to watch it with my friends? So, you guys, I do want to remind you that we are working to put a piece together comparing Project 2025 to Agenda 47. Agenda 47 is actually Trump's plan, and Project 2025 is, I think it's called the Heritage Foundation. And it's actually a group of lobbyists that they're conservative, and they wrote out these plans, and I didn't think they were all that extreme or devastating. So I do have some content from a content creator that I really like, and I've actually been on his live panel. He's been gracious enough to come on to my little small podcast. So you guys, I thank you for joining me today. I think we got what we needed to hear. You guys, I will remind you, you can go over to Facebook. You can go over to the YouTube platform, and let me pull it up on stage to show you. So you guys can go over to YouTube, and this was on Fox News. I pulled from Fox News, Sky News Australia, and MSNBC. Those are the sites that you can go to find all that information. All right, guys, I thank you so much for joining me. This has been RC Squared, a podcast for the people. This segment has been Kamala gives her economic plan speech, or does she? Find out with me. So later on, we'll be covering more stuff when we're comparing the Project 2025 Agenda 47. We will also go to Kamala's website and compare her plans. And it just sounds like I said, it's that oxymoron, pragmatic dreams, pragmatic idealism. It doesn't make any sense to me. All right, guys, thank you. Join me later on for BBN, Bobina's Book Nook, where we will continue on with The Handmaid's Tale. We just wrapped up chapter 3, actually, and then we will be continuing on in Bobina's Book Nook, The Scarlet Pimpernel by Emushka Orsizi. That is brought to you courtesy of Bobina's Book Nook, a division of RC Squared, a podcast for the people. All right, guys, I sounded like Oprah there, didn't I? Ugh. All right, guys, be blessed. I'll see you next time. Peace out, friends.